Bill Erstis,
Present.
John Dooley,
Here.
Gary Bailey,
Here.
Deborah Potter,
Here.
Kevin Whipple.
Here. Okay, approval of the agenda. Any changes or anything need to be added or changed? Or if not, I'll accept a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? And everything look all right on them?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as submitted.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Financial report?
You'll see the financial report in front of you here with our three accounts. As far as our three basic accounts, they're as listed. Our total amount is right here. The total of all four accounts, $396,031.06. And of course, we have our JCB loan that you can balance against that for the other balance here in yellow. So.
Okay. Mr. Feister.
Hey, good evening, everyone. A couple of items on the agenda for this evening as it relates to the apron project. So we opened the bids for the apron project last Monday here in this room, and we ended up receiving 5 bids for that project from the Harper Company out of the Cincinnati area, Milestone Contractors, Dave O'Mara, Quest Group, which is up near Toledo, and Paul Rowe Company from Aurora, Indiana. And Paul Rowe was the low with a base bid amount of $562,000. The engineer's estimate was $607,000. So we had some competitive bids and some pretty favorable results. So you may recall from the last board meeting, the board approved a submission of the grant application once we opened the bids and put the final numbers together. So I did provide a copy of the grant application in the email I sent, but I didn't print it out because it's already been acted upon and submitted to the FAA. So in that grant application, it covered the design costs from BF&S, the construction costs for the low bid of the base bid only from Paul Rowe Company. It has an amount in here for the inspection agreement, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then an amount for the independent fee estimate on the inspection agreement. So I did provide a sort of a funding summary sheet to go along with this application, because I do want to talk about the way in which the board will have to fund the project. So the total cost in the grant application was just under $781,000. So that's a $700,000 federal share, a $39,000 state share, and a $39,000 local share. And I'm using round numbers here, so you get an idea. The funds that are available to the airport board now through the bill funding program are your fiscal year 22, your fiscal year 23, and your fiscal year 24 bill funds, which is a total amount of $498,000. So that covers a decent portion of the project, but that leaves $283,000 left unfunded. So I showed here the way we recommend how to fund the remaining $283,000 of the project. That would be with two grants in fiscal year 25, which would be your fiscal year 25 bill funds, which are assumed to be $160,000 based on the amount you received for fiscal year 24. That might go up or down a few $1,000s. It wouldn't be a significant variance from the $160,000 shown here. And then a fiscal year 25 NPE grant, which is your non-primary entitlement funds. That's the $150,000 federal dollars you receive every year. there will be a portion of that, approximately 90,000 left over next year after you receive the final amount for your land reimbursement for the runway project. So if you follow all of that,
What year is that, the NVE money?
that's fiscal year 25.
Okay.
And I can outline a schedule for that too. The whole purpose of this conversation is that I want to make the board aware that there's some amount of money that you'll have to cover until you get the reimbursement from your final grant, which would be part 4, which would be your fiscal year 26 bill funds. So you have 498,000 available now. You'll have approximately 250,000 that come available roughly this time next year, and then you'll have the final 33,000 that become available in approximately 2 years from now, which would be your final reimbursement. Now, the costs incurred, the design cost, the $69,300, that's already incurred. The design for the project is done. The $145,000 for inspection and $562,000 for construction, those costs will not be incurred until the project actually goes to construction, which is anticipated to be late spring of 2025. So when those costs are incurred, it's approximately about the time you'll receive the additional $250,000 for your 2 fiscal year 25 grants, your bill grant and your MPE grant. So that brings you to the highlighted cell in the summary sheet I provided, which is my estimate only, of the amount of the balance that the airport would have to cover for approximately a year until they receive the final fiscal year 26 grant to reimburse the final piece of construction. So that's kind of how I broke it down, because I did want to make you guys aware that you don't have the full amount to cover construction available to you right now. But we did submit the grant application for the funds that are available today, which is the part 1, the 3 years of bill funds that total $497,777. And I don't need you to come up with a plan of how to cover that $33,000 today. By submitting the grant application, nothing obligates the board to accept it. That's only once you receive the grant offer, which we don't expect to get for 60 days or so. So we have a couple of board meetings to think about how we will cover, or how the board will cover that balance for a while until they get the fiscal year 26 funds. But I did want to bring it to your attention so that you were aware of that and could start thinking about it. Once the grant offer comes, then we'll have to make a decision, because if you do accept the offer and you award the project to the contractor, you are obviously going under contract to pay them $562,000 to complete the work. So I know that was a lot of information, so hopefully that summary sheet I provided is, you're able to follow it. But does anyone have any questions on that or the funding plan for this project?
The upper left right there, IFE, what is IFE?
An IFE is an independent fee estimate. It's a third-party fee estimate for any agreement that's over $100,000. So that's performed by a different engineering consulting firm for the inspection agreement, because the inspection agreement is over $100,000. It was not required for the design agreement because the design agreement was under $100,000. Okay, so that's our plan. Before, once the grant offer does come, you guys probably need to have a plan in place for how to cover that balance, so you can pay the bills to the contractor.
We will not be doing the additional 128 feet.
Correct. So the $562,000 is for the base bid only, which is the 3. Hang on, let me pull up the sheet before I give you an incorrect number here. Yeah, that's for the 3,000 square yards of concrete. So that's the smaller footprint that will park, it'll park 2 business jets in a turnaround area. It does not include the additional 1,200 square yards of concrete pavement that would offer the 3 tie downs for single engine aircraft. The bid from Paul Rowe for the alternate work was an additional $150,000. So based on the funds available, even if you used your entire fiscal year 26 bill, it would not be enough to cover that. And of course, that additional amount would be funds the airport would have to cover locally until that could be reimbursed in fiscal year 26.
So Paul Rowe was the low bid. Do we know anything about Paul Rowe, any history or anything?
Yeah. Bill does.
Okay.
According to Bill, they've done work out here before, asphalt work, but I'm not, that was before my involvement in working out here. They do have a concrete division, so they'll self-perform the concrete work for this project. They've listed IMI here in town as the ready-mix supplier for the concrete. They're familiar with the FAA's specifications for concrete. I don't have any experience with them personally on their airport work.
What was the next closest bid, if I may ask?
Sure. Yeah. So Paul Rowe's base bid amount was $562,000. Milestone was the next lowest bid at $589,000 for the base bid. Then it's my bid at $607. Dave O'Mara was $667. The Harper Company was $764,000, and Quest Group was $770,000. Again, that's just for the base bid.
So how much, I'm sorry, how much difference is there between the lowest and the second?
Sure. Between Paul Rowe and Milestone,
7,000.
yeah.
0.7, okay.
Yeah.
But you have no choice but to award the project to Paul Rowe because they're the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. I mean, their bid has satisfied the requirements from the contract documents, so there's no grounds to go to the next lowest bidder.
I understand. Just curiosity.
Sure.
How about the inspections?
Sure. So the inspection agreement is the piece of the application I am asking board action for. So the FAA requires you to provide competent inspection of a federally funded project. It's similar to the inspection that we had for the runway project we just wrapped up. It's an inspector that's provided by BFNS, a BFNS employee who's here on site full-time to observe the work of the contractor, make sure that the materials testing firm is here to test the concrete and the stone and other materials required for the project. They do the document control as far as certified payrolls, inspection reports, test reports, those kind of items. There's the support of an engineer, myself or another construction engineer, to review material submittals, pay applications, and that kind of work related to construction. So the total on the inspection agreement is $145,805. That's kind of broken down into 3 categories, if you will. There's a lump sum amount of $47,800. That is for construction administration tasks. That's for preparation of the pay applications for the contractor, a review of the shop drawing submittals like the concrete mix design, the stone, the storm pipe, those types of items. It is attending and holding the pre-construction meeting and just construction administration related activities. The second phase is approximately $70,125, and that's an hourly not to exceed fee. That is the fee for the inspector to be here on site every day when the contractor is working. That fee does include the time for the additive alternate bid that we are not intending to award. But since it's hourly, I did not revise the agreement. We simply will bill the hours that the inspector is here to match the time that the contractor is here. So I would anticipate that 70,000 would underrun by approximately $15,000 because that's the portion that's for the additive alternate bid that we're not going to move forward with. On the hourly portion of the agreement, we don't bill you for the hours we don't work. So it should align with the base bid for the construction duration. The final piece is reimbursable expenses. That's for materials testing and for travel. So it's $28,000, $24,000 of that is materials testing. That's for BFNS to hire a third-party testing firm that does concrete testing, density testing on the soil. They'll do material testing on the aggregate that goes underneath the concrete. All the tests that are required by the FAA for the FAA to accept the material that's been placed.
How would the soil stabilization be done?
So there's no cement or lime treatment for this project. Once the subgrade soil has been compacted per the P152 specification, we'll do a proof roll, and if there's any softer yielding areas, the contractor will replace those with aggregate.
Sounds good.
So if there aren't any questions on the inspection agreement, that is included in the bill application, and it has not been approved by the board, so I am looking for board action to approve the C2 jet apron construction administration and inspection agreement in the amount of $145,805.
Question.
Sure.
If we approve this tonight, but then we get the other application back and decide we're not sure we can come up with that $33,000, are we bound to this?
No, there's nothing in that agreement that we'll charge time to until you enter into a contract with the contractor, because the first scope in this agreement is to start reviewing material submittals and coordinate with the contractor for a pre-construction meeting, which won't happen if you don't accept the grant.
Okay. Thank you.
All of the project-related activity right now that I charge time to goes to the design agreement still, which is a lump sum agreement. So
I'll make a motion that we approve the, as listed here, the apron and construction inspection agreement, the amount listed there, $145,805.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passed.
okay, just a few quick updates for some existing grants on AIP 20 and AIP 21, which we're waiting for closeout on for the runway project. The FAA updated us last week that there is no update, that those closeout requests are still under review. And then we have been, Andrew Maximovich in our office has been doing some back and forth with the program manager for the FAA over your grant for fiscal year 24 for the land acquisition reimbursement. And it looks like all of the ducks are getting into a row there, so that grant should be coming within the next 60 days.
Off the subject a little bit, the approach plates come in Thursday.
Yeah, they're scheduled to publish on Thursday.
Is the FAA required to fly that?
They do verify it. At this point, I think they would have already done it.
So we got approach plates in.
I know nothing else to say that they're not going to publish on the 11th.
Okay.
I've been checking. I mean, the website is public where you can go check and see when they're supposed to publish, and they still show it's publishing on Thursday.
Okay.
My phone rings at 7 a.m. on Thursday, I know it's gonna be Bill calling me, right?
Probably so.
That's all I have for this evening, so thanks for your time talking us through the financial plan for the apron project. Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Mr. Scheidler.
Okay, as of right now, the whole airport has been mowed, it looks pretty good everywhere. I was waiting on a guy who wanted to bale hay off of it to finally get his part cut, and then I cut everything else down. So, and even got some of the hillsides moved back there. But, anyhow, other things, I have 9 people on the list wanting a hangar at this time. 9. And, the other thing is, I was asked to get prices on putting a concrete floor in our new building, which I contacted 4 contractors. 3 of them come to look at the job, and 2 of them submitted quotes. So we got those in front of you right now. So I don't know what kind of action you want to take on that, but anyhow, I think it'd be a good idea myself to put a floor in there.
My question is, that we have the money to be able to do that if we're considering also covering another 33,000.
The 33,000 would be on next year.
I realize that, but are we gonna be able to have that
Do we
back?
have enough in our account, Miss Amy?
I don't know what the bids are, so I can't tell you.
Low bid's 11,338.
Off the top of my head.
Well, let's table it till next month and have Amy check the account.
It needs to be done, but we'll sort out you're right, we need to sort all
Yes,
this out.
I'm not against
Yeah.
doing it, I just wanna make sure we can pay for it.
Gotcha. That's always a good thing.
Yes.
I think the only other question I would have then is like on this lowest bid he's got on here, the bid is good for 30 days, you know, so do I need to ask him if he can extend that or something?
It's actually already passed, because it's dated June 2nd.
Yeah, that part is true. Although I talked to him a couple days ago and told him the meeting had to be postponed until, because of the 4th and that. I said I should know something by tomorrow, by Tuesday this week, you know, so.
These 2 bids are identical as far as the specifications and the work.
I told the guys basically the same thing, what we want done, yeah.
It appears that they're pretty close, so, yeah, everything looks the same.
I think the lower bid, he's actually including sealing the concrete, whereas the higher price one was not going to seal it. Oh, and the $875 pump allowance, if they don't need a pump, he'll deduct that much. So that's why I talked to him, I could call him, verify that, if that was the case or not. So,
Can you call him tomorrow and see if he'll hold it for another 30 days for us?
I can call him, see what happens.
Let's do that.
We have lights in the building now?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Will 30 days give us enough, maybe 45 days?
Give us enough what?
Time to beat up his specifications.
It'll be past our next meeting.
Yeah, so the time he gave me this on June 2nd, you know, it's already been
Okay.
30 days.
You're right.
So if he gives, well, it just needs to give us till at least August 2nd, really, is what we need to.
Well, there's something else down here in his notes. He says if it gets past September 1st, I guess, there's a winter charge of $12 a yard for concrete. I guess they put antifreeze in it or something. I don't know what that's for. So concrete could cost more after that date or something. So,
Is that right, John? Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that, but
What what temperatures can you pour concrete?
You can pour it lower than the temperatures we have in September.
Well, being this is inside a building, it wouldn't get as cold in there as it would be outside either.
He's probably being cautious, but yeah, usually if it's gotta get down freezing before they have problems with it.
Yeah, there's just extra work to keep the concrete at the right temperature if the air temperature gets colder.
Wait a minute, that says winter charge of the $12 may apply from November 1st to April 14th.
Okay.
Surely it could get done before November 1st.
Depends on how long we wait to tell him you can do it.
Well, next month, August, they'll give them time.
Should give a thumbs up or thumbs down by then, I think, so. I'll sit on it.
We'll have a decision by next month.
Okay.
One final question. I didn't see, is that gonna have an apron for you on the doors?
Yeah, under each of the doors, they're gonna go deeper with the concrete, and, I mean, as far as an approach,
Right.
I think it'll just be the stone we have currently. Of course, we're going to be removing some of the stone in order to put concrete in, and we'll put that on the west side.
They're gonna take it out, go past the door, so you have, the door comes down into like a doorwell type thing?
The concrete in the doorway, the concrete will come out to the face of the building, where the door is inside the building, so you'll have the thickness of the wall of flat, of concrete there, and they said to put a little taper on that, make sure the water runs off to the outside.
Okay.
All right. So I guess you want to go with the cheaper bid then?
No, let's go with it. Yeah. Depending on how much kickback I get out of that. Okay, Jerry's done. Approval of bills. Everybody had a chance to look at them? Yes, Miss Amy.
Well, if you have any questions, I can answer those. Okay, so just to keep you, to bring you up to speed, after doing some research on some of the history in the last couple of years with FAA receipts or reimbursements, I found a few mistakes a couple years ago. They were just receipted into the wrong fund. Correct bank account, wrong fund. So in an effort to clean that up, because the money that was put in needs to be paid back to the loan, which I know is really important for you all to get that paid off, I have to do an additional appropriation because the amount is larger than your entire budget. So I need to do an additional appropriation. I can't spend the money even if it's in there if we don't do an additional appropriation. In order to get it into the paper, which is where I have to publicize it 10 days before the next board of, or council meeting, I had to put it in before this meeting and before bringing it to you. So I apologize that I went ahead and pulled the trigger. If you don't want me to do that, I just won't present it to them tomorrow, but I have a feeling that you probably do want me to do that so that we can get that payment paid to Jackson County Bank.
How about you, Nick? Or John?
Yes, yeah, we had discussed all that, that certainly
Yeah.
sounds like the way to go.
Yeah.
Just get that money in the proper category like that, so.
I don't know if you want to do an official motion of some sort to get it in the minutes, that you do want me to go ahead and present that to the council. Might be safe.
Yeah, if there's no other discussion, I'll make that motion that we go with that plan, you know, that presents that to the council. So it's just basically moving money from one of our accounts to another. So we can pay it back.
And we have it corrected, so it will not go back into that account in the future?
Oh, it shouldn't, because I'm gonna write a check, and I'm gonna write it to Jackson County Bank when the additional appropriation is approved, which won't be until August, because it has to have 2 readings. I will write a check, and it will go toward the Jackson County Bank loan to pay down that loan. Because that's where it should have gone in the first place, because the original bill was paid out of that loan, so the reimbursement should have gone to that loan.
Yeah, any future issues with it. Anything else we get from like grant money or anything like the bill money or whatever?
No, that has all been straightened out. That has all been straightened out. There might be another one that I bring to you. I actually found 2 more in between the time that I sent it to the newspaper and then publishing it, and I didn't have time to get that updated amount into the paper, to the tune of about $23,000, which also, you know, is pretty significant to go toward the loan. So, any other questions?
I, you make a motion, she makes those transactions, or seeks that approval from the city councils.
Can I ask one more question, sir? What account are we taking that out of? Is it like from like our?
It was receipted into the 8817, which is your operational account, and that is in your, yeah, your First Financial bank account.
Okay.
Yeah,
And the amount was how much?
$200,028.
That's gonna significantly reduce that then.
Yes,
Okay.
but it should never have been in there in the first place.
And yes, I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
I did, which is gonna make me consider more whether we need to spend more money on concrete, so we're getting down on our finances. That's all, I just want to.
No, those are great questions, yeah.
So,
I think that's
Thank you.
absolutely fair.
I will second John's motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved.
One last thing, we'll start seeing bills, a minor thing, we'll start seeing bills to First Financial Bank. Is that Jerry's debit card? Is that what
It
that
is, yes, yeah. We got Jerry a credit card because he was coming in and borrowing mine, and it made things a little bit messy with paying that off to make sure it was paying out of your bank account and not our bank account, but it was still on the same invoice, so we just thought it would be easier, so he has his own credit card now. And we don't want him paying for things just out of his pocket either.
That's all I've got. Thanks, Amy.
Okay.
Thank you.
I make a motion, we accept the bills as submitted.
Second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I would like to ask a question,
Okay.
if I may. Just curiosity, because I don't know what it is, but there's one on here for COVA, there's one on here for ACRA.
Yeah, it was listed in the bills that we got.
I actually have the stack of them down in my office. I apologize, I came from another meeting, so I don't have those in hand. I would guess that COVA,
I've got chemicals to spray out the airport.
chemicals to spray, I'm guessing that ACRA was something, I feel like it was a tire. Was there a tire?
She emailed that to us today. It was a part for, I don't have it right in front of me, but that's in our
Is it
email.
equipment or for a car or truck or?
Acre?
Yeah.
Probably the courtesy car is paid for by the city.
Yeah, if it has something to do with the courtesy car, maybe. I haven't been to Acre that I know, for the airport that I know of.
I will check into that and get back with you on that.
It's
Yeah.
in your email that she sent
The
today.
tire, I guess, was 5 Points Tire, I would assume.
It says wheel center cap,
Right. Wheel hubcap or center cap?
center cap.
Wheel
Right.
center cap.
Or what? That's what I'm trying to find out.
And it could be for the courtesy car.
The mayor sent me a note saying that the mechanic put a new battery in before he brought the car up to the airport. I don't know where he went to get the battery.
That may have been ACRA.
It is a Chrysler product.
So are we paying for the courtesy car or is the city?
That's a good question.
Well, the insurance is covered by the city for the courtesy car, is it not?
That is part of, I mean, it's in the insurance that the city pays, but we will have separate insurance bills as well this next year. I, off the top of my head, I'm sure we've already paid for it this year, yes, for insurance.
Can we get some clarification from the mayor or somebody, though? Are we, about the courtesy car, are we responsible or is the city responsible?
Responsible in what way? I mean, they basically gifted us the car, responsible for whatever maintenance.
Upkeep, repairs,
That would be up to.
I would think that would be on
up
the
to us.
airport's
Yeah.
operational budget.
and it's, okay, that's,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
The car's in use now, is it not, Jerry? or-
Yeah, it's available.
Okay,
It has been used by someone.
yeah, we saw a letter from him or whoever that was.
I didn't know whether it was ours or the, you know.
It's ours to, it was gifted to us, now it's our baby. Yeah. Anything else for Amy?
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
One thing, Jared, kind of, or bounce it back to you, but can you tell us a little bit about the Curtis cars, how the mechanics, as far as how we get that to and from to a borrower, or what how that's set up?
Okay, the way it's set up is, there is a list of instructions hanging on the wall out there, and right below that is a lockbox with a combination on it. And there's a QR code on the instructions, and you gotta scan that, which opens up a thing where you gotta say your name, address, phone number, driver's license number, email address, all this stuff, and you submit that, and then it will send you an email and tell you what the code is to open the lockbox. Then you can get the key out.
Okay.
So that's the procedure at this time.
Do they have to go through you for anything, or just that will do it?
I already had one person call me and said that the email didn't work. He wanted to know if I'd tell him the code so he could have the car without telling us who he is. And I said, I'm not ready to do that. So, I think there's a couple flaws in the system, which I already talked to the mayor about, and he's looking into correcting those. So, okay.
Thanks.
Back to the bills.
Sorry.
We already voted.
It was,
Did we? Okay,
Judy says.
Gary and Deb.
all right. Any comments from the board or the audience? If not, I'll accept the motion to adjourn and meet August 1st.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay.